So, hello there, and welcome to the first ever episode of the Online Trainer Show. So, today we've got a very, very special guest. So, we've got a world champion natural bodybuilder. He is only 20 years old.
21.
He is 21. He is the owner of Made by Morris Coaching. He owns a very successful website which holds more content for trainers and clients, and it's AJ Morris. So AJ, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, dude. Yeah, awesome. Thank you very much. So I'm very appreciative of me being the first guest for this. I think it's something that'll be really, really cool. There has been podcasts, of course, like this similar in the past, but not ones that have been running for a decent period of time, enough so that you'll have interviewed, I think, all the top UK coaches or perhaps worldwide coaches. So this will be something really, really cool to follow, guys. And I think if you're an aspiring coach, listening to people, regardless of what PhD, what studies they've done, listening to people who are in the trenches and have built decent, well, appreciable, like successful businesses are the people that you should learn the most out of. So this will be great, and yeah, thanks for having me on.
For sure. No, yeah, that's exactly the direction that the podcast is aiming to go. So we're going to be interviewing lots of different fitness coaches from different niches as well, because not everyone coaches like myself and you. So this way we can learn from everybody and use it in our own businesses. So yeah, really excited to get the episodes going, and happy to have you here for the first time, AJ. So I'd like to sort of start with where it all started for you. Like, how did you get into the industry from where you started to where you are right now? Like, just a short snippet of like how you got there.
I knew you were going to say a short snippet. So put it this way, guys, I'm really shit at being concise. So I'll try my best. But yeah, so essentially when I was very young, I was always competitive. I was into motorsport, and I raced karts, and I really wanted to do that as a career. That became impossible at some point due to funds and financial reasons. So the career side of motorsport was sort of fading away. So I was like, okay, Christ, what am I going to do? I'm not going to be a racing driver. What do I want to achieve? So then I went to college. I did luckily study sort of the level 2 fitness instructor at college. So that got me the level 2 out of the way. And I was like, yeah, I do kind of like this, but where am I actually going to be? What am I actually going to be doing in the fitness industry? And I didn't really have that direction, but I was training, and I was building a physique. I was very chubby at the time, putting on a lot of muscle, and obviously was eyeing up my first bodybuilding show at the same time. So then I came out of college. I had a bit more direction. I was like, okay, I'm definitely going to get into the fitness industry. Saved up, did my level 3, which was obviously a paid thing, which is quite pricey. And, there's several ways to do it, which you can sort of like fund it monthly, but I didn't have a lot of money. So that was a big expensive thing for me to do. So it upset me when my first job in the fitness industry was cleaning treadmills and walking around a gym. And mate, I hated it. It put me off the fitness industry so much. I remember coming home, having chats with my mum. I was like, Mum, I seriously don't know what I'm going to be doing. And you feel like this loss of direction when you're that age.
For sure.
You're like, I should know what I need to be doing. I should know exactly what I should be doing at this stage. So I was really sort of in a bit of an emotional spot. And then because I was emotional, I made an irrational decision, went into a state agency, and then did that for like 3 months. Do you remember that, mate?
Yeah, I think I do. I remember the pictures that you used to put on. So it was definitely not what you wanted to do, was it? Not at all.
Yeah, that sucked. It was the worst thing ever. So that was that. And then I was like, okay, well, no way. This is not what I want to do at all. This is even worse than cleaning treadmills. So I stopped that. And then at that time, I had like a job, funnily enough, at the gym that I train at the moment, which I've sort of gone around multiple gyms, but I train there now. I had a job at the desk on that gym.
All right, cool.
And that was the point at which I sort of met a few people asking me questions, because I'd done my first bodybuilding prep, obviously got lean. People were asking me how I did it. So I was like, I don't know how to coach bodybuilding, but I can coach you to sort of like lose fat or gain muscle. I can certainly help. Got a few clients, and one of my first clients was actually a bodybuilding client and actually ended up wanting to do a show. So I wouldn't recommend doing that because you're throwing yourself in the fucking deep
Right
end.
into the deep end.
But for me, I was just like, okay, I'll take the plunge, I'll do it. And he ended up doing really well. He won a British Championship, which I ended up winning as well. So it was quite a weird, wet circumstances that set that up. But that was how I initially got into online coaching.
Yeah.
And then from there, obviously the business just quietly grew in the background whilst I did other stuff. And I think that's one of the big important points that I want people to know is that most of the time you can't just hop into online coaching and expect it to fund everything that you're doing. It's a transitional process. So you've got to have something in the background. You've got to have whether you're PTing one-to-one, whether you're working a normal 9-5, or whatever you're doing, shift patterns, I don't care. You've probably got to have something in the background to keep you going whilst you get up that initial momentum. And then once you've grasped the momentum, you can sort of set up and get rocking and rolling. And for me, it's been sort of a life-changing thing getting into it, because now it is what I do, or what I have been doing every day without anything else I quit one-to-one PT in November of 2016.
Yeah.
So
Nice, yeah.
about a year and a half now, which is, mate, awesome. Like I'm so glad that I took the plunge. Really did.
So going back to the one-to-one PT, like how pivotal would you say it is to do that to get into the online world? Because there's lots of trainers right now that obviously they might not be doing the personal training, and they might want to get into the online side. It's like how important would you say it is to embark doing PT?
Yeah, sure. It's a good question. I think that certainly it helps. The sort of the one-to-one relationships which you build with clients and the confidence that you build talking about what you're doing certainly helps. However, the one-to-one industry versus the online they're two different niches.
Yeah.
One-to-one, you're going to be working with people that are coming in, they don't have a clue how to lift, eat, or do anything. Online, you generally work with people that have a decent amount of knowledge prior to them joining your coaching.
Yeah.
Because if they didn't, it would be very hard to coach them. They're not quite fitting the online coaching niche. So the experience, I think, with drilling in movement patterns, confidence through speaking, understanding sort of how to build relationships, that's I think a really good point. And again, it almost acts as like a tiered process. So you do. I've done the cleaning. I've done the one-to-one PT, and now I do the online side of things. And then you could probably tier it up more, where I'd potentially be managing a team of coaches, or I could be doing things like running my member site and things like that.
Yeah.
Everything acts as almost like a building block to get you there. I certainly think if you've done PT and you're going into online coaching, you'll probably be in a better spot than people that are just going straight into online coaching.
Yeah, for sure.
Purely from like a building relationships point of view.
Yeah, no, for sure, that makes sense. And I think a lot of people, like even myself, like my role before I came into online coaching was a customer facing role. So I was with customers every day, interacting, and you build up that trust with everyone, and you learn how to talk to people, because if you're in a role where you don't talk to many people, going into online coaching is difficult, especially trying to post content as well online and everything. So yeah, that does make a lot of sense, mate. So the next two questions, they kind of roll into each other. So what would a typical day in the life of AJ look like, and how do you manage clients alongside of it as well? So obviously a typical day is going to involve setup of clients, training programs, check-ins. Like, what is a day right now for you look like compared to what it might have looked like in the past? Because obviously where you are right now is the reason for what you did in the past. So you've done all of that groundwork to where you are right now. So what would the 2 days different look like?
Sure. So yeah, I mean, coming back to the PT thing as well, in terms of this question, The PT thing certainly gives you time management, and that you know your days are crazy busy, so you learn how to block your days efficiently.
Yeah.
So that's another benefit of the PT. Now, so my days in the past would have probably looked a bit skewed as I was building the business.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't really have a schedule. I'd do all my check-ins on a Sunday, and I'd know that Sunday was going to be like just a huge bout of work, and that was it. Other than that, throughout the week, I wouldn't have much direction, and you know, I wouldn't be that busy. I'd be trying to be busy as opposed to being actually busy.
Yeah.
Which is actually just not fun because you end up not really liking what you're doing that much.
Mm-hmm.
So now my week looks like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, and a little bit of Tuesday are all check-in days. Those days won't really be interrupted at all for anything else besides maybe putting up a pre-filmed video or something like that as part of content production or an Instagram post, which I do daily. That will tend to be the flow of those days. So that's just video feedback to my clients.
Yeah.
And then all the rest of the week is any programming. So like yesterday, which was Wednesday, I did 4 programs, and that was pretty much the majority of the work that I did in that day, and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, outside of that, it will be content production for my members site. It'll be setting up new clients if there's any new clients come on board.
Yeah.
It will be replying to applications, or setting up a consult call if I do any of them, if they're needed. And then other than that, you know, on those days that are quieter, I do try and actively rest.
Yeah.
Because I think it's very easy to sort of just work and just have no days off. And I would say that I don't do this well enough still. I don't think that I do enough of rest. You know, if you look at like a normal week for anyone that works in normal jobs,
Yeah.
they will have at least one day a week where they do not go to work, and that's it. You know, like but every single morning without fail, probably most online coaches come to wherever they work, whether it's a standing desk, whether it's sitting down, they turn on their laptop and they're doing work, or they turn on their phone and they're doing work.
Yeah.
You know, we don't back off. So backing off for me usually exists after my training. So I train around about 2 p.m. at the moment. And then by the time that I'm finished, I've eaten my meal, etc. It's probably around about 6, maybe 5:30, at home. And then I will usually sit down for a bit.
Yeah.
And whether or not I finish a few bits that are very chilled and not so neurologically demanding, then
just easy work.
Easy work, chilled work. I'll do that, like an Instagram post or just checking socials. You know, when you gather a social media influence and you get, you know, DMs gather throughout the day, it's a fucking job just keeping on top of them.
Yeah, you come back home and there's 10 there in the inbox, and it's like, oh god. Obviously, it's fantastic to be able to answer them and help people. But obviously, once you've had a really busy day, like, you don't want to then leave them to tomorrow because they'll build up again. So
it's another job in itself. So that's that. And then by the end of the day, hopefully I'll have had some chill time, and then, you know, I get to bed fairly early and wake moderately early. You know, so that's sort of how my days look.
Yeah.
They're all at home. I don't work externally. I don't work in like a free office space or coffee shops very often. I used to, but I found with coffee shops, and this is something that I've probably learned, is that Wi-Fi is generally bad.
Yeah.
Usually, and then I found I just got distracted more.
Mm-hmm.
So like there'll be kids in there or something, and it would just be hella distracting. And then I'd end up doing less work. So I prefer just to blast out work and then have my free time than go to somewhere for a day and say, I'm sitting here for a day and working. So I'll probably end up getting less done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, cool. So I mean, one of the questions I wanted to ask from what you just spoke about, because anyone who follows AJ on Instagram, Facebook, whatever it might be, will know that he is probably the most consistent person I've ever seen in terms of content, stories, just granite hard consistency, and it's very admirable at your age, AJ. So how do you manage that? Do you write everything down the night before? What is your kind of top tips for nailing productivity and consistency during the day and stopping procrastination?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't always like this, but it was kind of nailed into me that I think content, and being consistent with content is one of the best ways to obviously grow a business and like you said, be consistent and be consistently seen. That was probably through in my initial stages following like people like Gary Vee, who was just content and making sure that you were doing that and getting off your ass and being consistent. I do definitely write out a list before I go to bed, and I think that's the most important thing, is that you do it before you wake up.
Yeah.
When you wake up, you're easily like strayed, and your decision fatigue is higher, usually with most people. So I definitely like to write a list of what I plan to do the next day. And then obviously when you're in the world that we're in and there's so much duplicates of content, you've got to try and just think of novel things that, perhaps might have not been covered. I found in the past, when I was forced to think of a post, it would usually be crap.
Yeah.
Whenever I just relaxed through my week, and whenever something came to my mind, I'd write it down in a note and did a piece of content on that. That would be the best content that I ever did.
No, superb. That's a great idea, because I can remember times, and I'm sure others listening to this will know when you're rushed to put out a piece of content because you've missed that window on Instagram where nothing's going to get liked. You rush to put it out, and it can be a bit crap, and it just falls massively, and no one takes any notice because it wasn't you behind it. It was just a rushed post. So no.
Yeah, don't ever be forced to write content. Let the content come to you. I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah. No. Cool. And like the next question leads on to your content as well. So obviously in recent times your content has changed like massively throughout the years. So you've gone from posting like if it fits your macro meals with lots of potato to now like extremely informative posts and videos in obviously all of your social media platforms. So what would be your top tips for nailing both Instagram stories and the posts as well? And would you recommend like obviously straying from different types of content throughout the years?
Yeah, so I think the content at the start was very basic, but that was because I was sort of targeting like a completely different niche.
Yes, for sure. Would you say your ideal client back then was different to what it was now?
Yeah, sure, 100%. Like, but the thing is, my online coaching wasn't really growing at that point because I was putting out too basic content.
Yes.
So I was wanting physique athletes and people that want to make really good progress, whether it's maximum muscle or losing a ton of fat. But I wasn't putting out the content that was like that they would want to see or that they would find interesting. You've got to think outside the box. You like whatever you're trying to target. So, for example, if I'm putting out a piece of content on my Instagram, it'll be like I'm thinking about how this is going to impact people who potentially want to compete and want a coach to do that. So if I can tell them something that they've perhaps not heard before, then that would be great. Now, the other side of things is like you've got to look at content as sort of a two-way street. You can attract attention by putting out great informative content, but you can also attract a world of attention by simply being someone that, and I hate to say it, but motivates people and almost like just is there as someone that's kind of like sounds really gimmicky, but kind of like an inspiration for them in terms of like they look at a post and they're like, fuck, I want to go and train.
Yeah.
Or, fuck, I really like this guy. If people can resonate with you and like build a relationship with you through your content, they're very inclined to ask you questions or want you to coach them. Or want to simply build a relationship or follow your stuff. You know, if you post regularly like about your progress and what you're doing, I found that people really like that and they want to stay up to date with you. And then when you elicit results, you're your own testimonial. Like people will be like, well, if AJ's getting good results, then surely, you know, if I go on to coaching with him, we'll be able to elicit the same results too.
Yeah.
You'll also, by doing so, if you put out content that you believe in and not just regurgitated scientific studies, you'll probably attract the people that you want to coach.
Yeah.
Because there's certain ways that I like to train and there's certain ways that I don't like to train. If I was to put out the way that I don't like to train, but it's been proven in some sort of study, I'd attract a load of people that love training like that, and I'd hate coaching them.
Yep.
Whereas instead, if I put out, you know, pure, honest content, all I attract is people that want to train very similar to me.
Yeah.
Like I've had some of my clients come to me and like legit in their application they'll say all of the movements that I do is their favorite movements. and then they'll do it like when I ask for a new update to their blog, if they see any exercise that I've done new in my program, they'll be like, I want that in my program. And so I'm quick to say, you know, that you don't need that to do that or to look like that, you know. And I'll be obviously informative in that sense, but it's nice to know that your clients like you a lot and, you know, trust what you're doing and want to be part of your journey. I think that's so important. So just with your content, just obviously have the informative stuff, but don't regurgitate. Just be super honest. Be honest about what you want to put out there. Because in the past, like you said, what have I done in the past? I've regurgitated shit. And half
stuff that you've done before,
just like regurgitation of other people's content, or just because this has come out, I'll talk about it.
Yeah.
I think you'll get lost in that, to be honest.
Yeah. So be yourself and be you, and that way people, when they come to you, they know that they want to work with you and not some content that's obviously been put out by someone else. So
yeah, true.
Sure. So I want to talk about the platform that kind of supercharged your coaching to where it is now, because I know back, I think it was last year, you really nailed a certain platform which really helped grow your business. And obviously it wasn't email, it wasn't Facebook ads, it was just simple YouTube. Like you were so consistent with it. AJ was putting out daily videos on YouTube, basically picked an informative topic, whether it was the topic on if it fits your macros versus bro food, periodization, whatever it was, and then put that out on YouTube. And that was when you noticed real growth in your business, if I'm right.
Yeah, definitely.
Have you ever used anything other than like email? Have you used email? Have you used Facebook ads? Like, and if not, why would your preference be something like YouTube? And because I think a lot of trainers nowadays, they get caught up in the act like Facebook ads is this magic thing which is going to make you thousands and thousands of pounds each month, when in actual fact, if you're not nailing the basics, which is content organically, it will fall quite quickly and you'll probably waste a lot of money on ads.
So with my YouTube, I was certainly, it was an ease of use for me. I don't really know how to run Facebook ads. I don't really know how to use email. If I did, would my business have grown more? Perhaps. You know, I can't argue that because I haven't tried it.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely not poo-pooing email or Facebook ads. I just didn't want to learn how to use them because I knew that my YouTube and my Instagram would work perfectly fine to elicit the results that I wanted in terms of growing the business. So I think that more people need to realize that, you know, just simply gathering momentum through content is probably the best way to slowly build. But you have to remember that some content just simply doesn't pick up.
Yeah. Like
I've seen people who have been vlogging daily for what seems like years and have barely got 1,000 subs.
Yeah.
You know? And I just look and they're investing all the wacky camera gear, microphones, the latest editing software. Mate, my videos, yes, I invested in a camera at some point, but my videos are literally point and shoot.
Yeah.
I point, I shoot, I put it into iMovie and I upload it. It took me literally like 20 minutes a day to film one of them. It was super efficient.
Yeah.
So I'm not sitting there, writing out crazy long emails or planning the most optimal Facebook ad. I'm just putting out regular content that I know people can watch and resonate to.
Yeah.
So it wasn't long, it wasn't crazy complicated, it was just simple stuff. And that's what gathered momentum. And then, using your other multitude of platforms to promote that.
Yeah.
So I was using my Instagram to promote it. I was using my Facebook to promote it. And then slowly, everything built
Everything
as a result.
Builds up, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I certainly think that you could stick to the basics and grow from there perfectly fine without having to use any special ads or anything like that. And if anything, later along the line, you should be in a point with your coaching where you don't have to advertise for anything.
Mm-hmm.
You can just simply coach and people will come in and that'll be great, Yeah,
because that's like currently obviously the position you're in right now where you're full with clients and everything and you're still getting people asking to be coached, and obviously they just get put on a waiting list. So perfect position to be in, mate. And the YouTube comments, like where you said about the vlogging, I think a lot of people waste a lot of time with that when they're starting out. I think creating something which is actionable for the viewer there and then within an 8 to 10 minute video, so they can go away and action it and then get results, and then they'll see you as the person that's helped them get that result for free as well, which obviously in turn could lead to possible clients later down the line. So yeah, that's a fantastic little bit there, mate. So I want to talk about the member site. So obviously AJ has actually got a member site which is aimed at natural bodybuilding principles, talking about anything bodybuilding related. It's got forums on there as well. As part of the member site, you also get to be involved in a Facebook group where AJ holds live Q&As as well. I want to know, will this become the backbone of your business in time? Is this what you want to build now? Is that your focus, is nailing that member site to reach 1,000, 2,000, whatever many subscribers, to really like be the home of natural bodybuilding?
Yeah, you nailed it, mate. Honestly, like the member site, I care a lot about now.
Yeah.
It's such a low cost environment, but I get so much pleasure out of it because I know that I can be fairly intimate with the group at the moment, because it's small. As it grows, I want to try to keep that as much as I can to answer specific questions, and really deliver value for the cost. The videos on there are like, videos that I would put up on YouTube in the past. So this is why, like, you can't just start a member site without having any sort of background. I was putting up, like you said, I was super consistent with free content daily.
Yeah.
On YouTube, and I just wouldn't stop. And I built up a decent following there to where people understand that they can now invest $4.99 and be comfortable in receiving good good consistent content. So I would love to get it to the point where that is just a large part of my income, that the only thing I have to worry about or essentially have any sort of back burner in my mind as to whether people are going to drop out or whatever. The only thing that I want to worry about is how consistent I can be with the content, because clients, they're always going to be there, but it almost, like, it does frustrate me sometimes, the ebb and flow. It does a little bit. I'm at the point where I don't need to worry about the ebb and flow, but I still do. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I lose a couple of clients and I'm like, damn. But then I sit back and realize I didn't need to worry about that. Like, you don't need to worry about that, EJ. But I'd rather have something where I know, like, if I had 1,000 members, mate, I just simply wouldn't have to worry about much.
No, for sure. Yeah.
So, but I truly believe that I can get it to that point. It's just going to be a long slog. And I actually am a really big fan of the long slog. Yeah. I really like being patient, and I think you can really practice patience, because when I was like growing up and initially, like when I was much younger, I was the least patient person ever. So building an online coaching business wouldn't have been something that I would have looked at as a possibility, because you have to be super fucking patient. So but patience with the element of control, so self-control, like you can control the variables. That I love. So like that's why I love bodybuilding as well, because dieting down, you've just started and you know how long you've got, but you're willing to have the patience to get there, and that's why I love bodybuilding. Perhaps same why I love the off season. It's just you're building an inappreciable amount of muscle mass, but you just gotta be patient to do
Yeah.
it. So yeah, dude, like I would like to see that really really launch off, but like I said, patience with
Yeah,
that
it will
and
come,
just
mate.
being consistent, it will come.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
also like with the Facebook group, constantly spiraling out to see what I can do more. Like, can I do more for it? What
Yeah.
else can I do? Can I do meetups?
Hmm.
Can I do training camps out of it? Can I do seminars out of that? There's certainly more. There's
Yeah,
certainly more to do. We're on the tip of the iceberg right now.
tons of possibilities, mate. Yeah, for sure. And
Uh,
I'm sure they'll probably come up in the future, the very near future anyway. So,
yeah.
when you obviously started the member site, you got a lot of hate from people that were saying, why are you charging for this? What, when you put out loads on YouTube? Like, and obviously me and you, we understand that to put out that much value consistently for a very long time, it would need some kind of financial reward, because you are putting yourself out there, filming 1-2 hours of content and uploading it and keeping people obviously happy with the live Q&As and everything. So
Yeah.
how would you deal with kind of hate and negative thoughts that come your way in the fitness industry? And it's not just obviously about the member site. There's other stuff when people don't agree with what you say.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how you deal with it. Do you respond, or do you just kind of stay in your own lane?
Yeah, sure. So, like we talked about a little bit off air, I used to be very, very argumentative, and I would backlash as to anything that was against what I was doing. I wouldn't really valid their opinion either, as if they were arguing against me, which is horrible. But now, like, if someone said to me a legit comment about why they thought I couldn't charge, or why they disagreed with something, it was a legit comment, it was fair, and they supported it without just being a bell end, then I would take that on board. I would take that on board. I'd be like, okay, I'll definitely consider this. I'll think about what I need to be doing differently to fit into what you've said. But for the most part, I think when you're running your own business, you need a lot of self-belief. So with anything that you do, you need to be pretty certain that you've got the self-belief to back up when people disagree or don't like what you're doing. So with everything that I say or put on Instagram, I make sure now, because in the past I'll have put up something and I'm like, I'm not really sure about this, but I'll put it up anyway. And then someone will argue about it, and I'll be like, fuck, fuck. Now I've got an argument on my hands. But now I'll put up something and I'll have 100% confidence that whatever anyone comments, I can back up what I've said.
Always back up, yeah.
So with the members site, people are like, people did initially say, well, why $4.99? Why, when you've got loads of content on your other site, why do you need to do that? Or sort of loads of content on your YouTube, why do you need to have on the members site? And it was because when I'm coaching all the time and trying to put out content at the same time, it would be nice to know that when I take the time out of my work day to do content, that I'm getting a little bit for it.
Yeah.
And I've even invested in paying people to film me, in the gym. Because my pet hate is filming in the gym. I don't actually like doing that much, but I do it because I want to produce content for my story. I want to make sure that people know that I actually train with weights, and I want to document my progress. And I think, besides that, filming is a great tool to look at yourself and make sure that you're actually executing movements well, besides, all the other jazz. Because it's funny when you get someone to film themselves the first time, they're like, holy shit, I'm doing all of these things wrong. But yeah, I invest in the site equally as to when the money comes in. So if I get a good month with members, I'll invest a little bit in the site. So I had a really good month with members, like, I think a month or two ago, I got, it went up from like 100 to like 150 members quite quickly.
Yeah.
So I bought a new microphone.
Mhm.
And the microphone was not cheap. So it's always good to pay things back, and then that just builds it forwards,
Yeah, no, for sure.
So,
Keep putting it
yeah,
back in. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense, mate. So the next kind of topic that I wanted to talk about was obviously for trainers that are looking to start out and go online. What would be
sure.
your advice for them? I probably know what the answer is going to be because you said the exact same thing to me when I started out. But what would be your advice for someone that is looking to go online, say next week?
So you've you've got to definitely get some sort of base together. So whether that's attracting clients through free coaching, so getting them on board and just sort of offering something like come with me and I'll show you what I do, and then you at the end of this process you can have an option to sort of come on board as a client, and then if you provide that shit hot service over that free time period, the end of the service you can say here's the cost, and they'll be like, oh, cool, yeah, definitely, I'll sign up. And then you could get 5 clients out of that. 5 clients will quickly become 10 because you'll speak about those 5 clients like every single day. You'll post about them. You'll get people to follow their journey. You'll share that. You'll gather momentum, and then your business will grow. So first, everyone loves a freebie. Everyone loves a freebie. I remember when you offered some free or low cost coaching, and you got loads of people coming in.
Yeah, I think I had 45 requests for online coaching, and that was just through one post saying I want to coach someone for 4 weeks for free.
Exactly, ridiculous,
Yeah.
like absurd. People love free stuff; they love it, even if they don't want it,
Yeah.
really. You know? So getting people in like that could be the initial way to do things, but from there, don't ever do that again. So once you've done the free, don't do it again. Don't do it again. You are trying to build a business, not be kind. You can be kind for a little bit, and then you can start, actually charging, and that's what you need to be doing. You need to be charging. So do that well, and then that's the momentum you need. And what you'll learn is that there's a lot of coaches out there that do have a lot of clients, and that they are fully booked, and they've got plenty of people coming in and earning good money. But those clients will quickly learn that those coaches aren't good at coaching. They might be a world champion bodybuilder. They might be just like me, and some people might look at me and think, oh, he's a world champion bodybuilder, that's why he's busy. I was full before I was a world champion.
Yeah.
And I was actually getting to the point where I had enough just after my first show of last year. So it was before I even, did any of my shows last year, because a lot of people have a negative connotation with me because they feel as if I've gained this huge social media awareness from purely being shredded last year, and that's wrong.
No, yeah,
That certainly helped. It certainly helped, but those people just don't want to do what I do,
No.
and they don't want to do what you do. You're super consistent with your content, and there's other people that are super consistent with their content, and they're not shredded. And you've got to the point where you've come out of what you used to do as a job, and you've been off season the whole bloody time.
Yeah.
So I don't think you need to be shredded or you need to have abs to attract those initial clients. You don't. And if you do, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah. No, that's
If you really need that to grow a business, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, that's a real bit that hits home for a lot of people, because I think a lot of people will go on Instagram, social media, whatever it might be, and they'll see these coaches that offer just like a transformation package for 6 weeks or whatever for 49 quid, and then they'll see they are always shredded and they're getting thousands and thousands of clients in, which is great for them, but it creates this stigma that you need to be shredded to get clients in, and when that's wrong, it's it doesn't need to be like that. So
yeah.
So sort of coming near to the end now, so got a couple questions left. So what advice would you give to someone that wants to continually improve their service and get new clients in? And what do you do right now to get clients in? Do you have any specific way of doing it? Like, what's your process from client contacting you to starting coaching?
Yeah, so basically, don't don't sell. Don't sell is my biggest thing. So once you've got those initial sold clients through that free offer, don't sell. Like, just create. So create content and share. So create and share are the biggest things that you can do as opposed to sell. Selling is forcing. So selling is saying, join my online coaching crew and you'll be one of us.
Yeah.
Like, no, don't do that. Share what your other clients are doing and post that through a separate Instagram. So create maybe I have a team in MBM Instagram and I share client journeys on there. People see client journeys, people resonate, people like seeing other people's progress, and therefore they'll be like, I'm so similar to her. Awesome. I'll join because I want to do what she's doing or do similar to her, or, I'm in a similar situation as him. So share the content that your clients are putting out, share their journeys, and then create with regards to creating the content that you want the clients that you want to coach to see. So think about, I want to attract physique athletes now, so I want to attract bodybuilders, so I'm going to put out a load of contest prep content. Like, you will attract clients through that. And then through your DMs, like, everything goes down in the DMs if you want people to like actually trust you. So instead of replying with like blunt messages like you would if they're asking for a recipe, then answer with really, really good replies. The amount of times I can't, and it's unfortunate because I don't really do it that often now. It's because one, I simply don't have the time, but two, I don't actually want to get too many more people asking for coaching because I simply have to say, not now or later on, or I've actually started referring a few people to other coaches, which is great. I like doing that, but at the same time, I don't really want to have to deal with the inquiry because that's another thing that I've got to do. So when you are trying to definitely have more people come in, reply with like video notes to the DMs that you get. So if they ask a question saying like, what's the whey protein, what's the best whey protein you can buy, do a video note, do them really informative reply. And the amount of times they've come back to me and said, actually, like, I'm a bit stuck, do you have any spaces for coaching? And I'll be like, yeah, cool. Like, here we go. Fill out this application form, off we go. The amount of times I've got a client from that is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I must have had, when I was growing, like, so many inquiries and a sort of transfers through Instagram than I would anywhere else.
Yeah. Would you, for those people that were inquiring, would you get them to fill out an application or would you get them on the phone straight away?
In the past, I'd get them to get on the phone. The phone is awesome, but you have to be very scheduled with the time that you do it, etc. Now I must admit that what I do is it's still very like intimate in terms of the relationship that I'm trying to build. So I get them to fill out an application form and then I respond to the application through a video.
Okay.
So it cuts down because what I found is that every time I tried to set up a consult call, it would be they'd want to get, and this is just me being picky as fuck, right? But luckily enough, now that I've done all the background work, I can afford to be a bit picky. So they'd always want it to be in the evening in my chill time. And by the end of the day, after I trained, I was not in the mood to phone people. It wouldn't have been a productive call because I wouldn't have been myself. You like, look at me now, like I'm ready to go. I love talking to you right now, Jack. I wouldn't want to talk to you at 8 p.m. I work really well in the mornings.
Yeah.
So I found the best way to combat that was to not get people to awkwardly step out of their work day and consult in the morning. I just say, cool, fill out an application form, and then I respond to it through a very in-depth, usually 10, 15-minute video. But I've got all the information that I'd ask on the call right in front of me. This is perfect. I'm working on my own schedule, and I can own my own time, because that was one of the biggest things that I always wanted with my coaching is I want to do what I want to do.
Yeah.
And it seems very selfish, but trust me, I've done the non-selfish things. I've sat in my car after training loads of times, like legit right after training, and called like 3 people in a row for consults.
Yeah.
And I realised after doing that for quite a while that I didn't actually like doing it, so that's why I changed.
No,
so
I can relate to that a lot, mate. Yeah, really can. Yeah. So yeah, that's very, very relatable. So yeah, that kind of like wraps up the main questions. Like the last one I'd like to ask is, what now for Made by Morris? What's the 2-3 year goal for Made by Morris right now, or even 5-year goal?
Sure.
10 if you want, or 15.
Gets me super excited. I think for me now, it's primarily coaching physique athletes. So my goals within that will be to definitely turn someone pro. I want to turn someone pro. I want them to get like WMBF pro cards or DFAC pro cards, whatever. I definitely want to get a world champion this year, and I believe that I've definitely got a few chances.
Yeah.
So I want someone within my team to be a world champion. And I just generally want to attract more physique athletes. I have this vision in my head of like me at the BNBF final, UKDFBA final, with just my hands around like 10 athletes.
Tons of clients,
and
yeah.
I just love that. Both female, male, don't care. Like all of them with trophies in their hands. That's my dream.
That's the goal.
I'd do that every year. That would make me the happiest person on earth, and I will just continue to work until I have that. Because I can't tell you how excited it makes me when we get to the start of a bodybuilding season. I've got him competing here, her competing here. Like I just get buzzed off that. So that's the goal. And that's the way that my inquiries and everything is heading. So most people now that inquire either want contest prep or want off season, and that's it. I have very few standard inquiries. If I have a standard inquiry that's still, of the level of online coaching, I usually refer them to people that are building their businesses, to people that I would have coached that person a year or two ago. Mm-hmm. So that's me. And then obviously, like I said earlier in the podcast, member site, growing that, and that will only help. If I grow the member site, because it's very natural bodybuilding orientated, that will gather more volume of clients coming my way for contest prep. But people that inspire me are or at least motivate me to do what I do are like people like Cliff Wilson, Team 3DMJ, John Gorman back in the day. And then obviously other coaches that coach physique natty clients. So
yeah,
like coaches like Chris Aceto and Matt Jansen, trained by JP. All these people that are literally just working with top caliber physique athletes. Like, that's what I want to do. Yeah. I really want to do that because it gets me so excited where I get an inquiry and I'm like, you have so much muscle, you're going to look like ridiculous. Yeah. Like in a non-homo way, I just get like I'm looking forward to your shredded physique photos. Yeah, that shit gets me hyped.
But that's also makes it shows your passion, like shows that it comes out and it comes out in your content as well. So yeah, you're not in it for making loads and loads of money. You're just in it for that, which just shows the passion. And yes. I think if you show passion in everything, and I think a lot of this podcast has shown that if you put out amazing content, you show passion for your work, you will attract people to you. So, but yeah, it's been an absolutely superb episode, mate. So where can we find out more about you, AJ? Obviously,
sure. So yeah, simple. Instagram is AJ Morris _. The website and the member site is at www.madebymorriscoaching.com. And then you can find like the rest of the team through Team MBM _ on Instagram. And then obviously I'm on Facebook. I don't do any Facebook content on my business page anymore, which is kind of funny, but I just don't. I've very rarely used it. I probably use it a few times in the year, maybe to talk about a client that competed at a show, but probably I'll just use Instagram if I'm honest.
Yeah.
So there's that, and obviously, if people want to ask any questions or chat to me further in depth, send me an email at aj@madebymorriscoaching.com, or alternatively, simply add me on Facebook just at AJ Morris, and then just shoot me a message on there. But it's been a pleasure, Jack. Thank you very much for having me, and I hope that anyone that listened to this, whether you're doing cardio or whether you're out for a walk, whatever, I hope you took something away from it. And I genuinely, I'm all for people growing their businesses as well. So like, don't think that don't think the people ahead of you don't want new people to make it, because if anything, I'd be very happy to see people that are doing what I'm doing and making it as well, because there's plenty of fish in the sea. There's so many people to coach. We can share these people around. You just got to be a good coach to do it. So take on board the principles that Jack and all the other coaches talk about as well. But don't ever hesitate or stray away from being a good coach at any point. Whatever marketing strategy, content strategy people talk about, don't ever hesitate to remove yourself from being that good coach.
Brilliant. Thank you, mate. So just want to say a massive thank you again for coming on to the show and being our first ever guest. So absolutely awesome to have you on. So yeah, I will put all of AJ's links in the show notes. I have been your host, Jack Gadd, and we will see you in episode 2.
Thanks, guys.